Hey, so who was one of the most influential leaders of the civil rights movement? Without any doubt, whatever your race, creed, or color, it was Dr. Martin Luther King. So, what should we know about Dr. King and his legacy? Dr. Martin Luther King was one of the most influential leaders of the civil rights movement in the United States. His legacy continues to inspire and influence people around the world today. In this blog post, we'll explore the importance of Martin Luther King Jr. and the impact that his leadership had on the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. He grew up in a time of great racial tension in the United States, with segregation and discrimination against African Americans born being the absolute norm. Despite this, King was determined to make a difference and fight for equal rights for all. He attended Morehouse College, where he studied theology and became a Baptist minister. So, when really was the birth of the civil rights movement, at least the modern day one? Well, certainly the events of 1955. It was during his time as a minister that King began to become involved in the civil rights movement. In 1955, a young African American woman named Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white person. This incident sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, which lasted for over a year and was the major first civil rights protests in the United States. King was a leader in the boycott, and it was during this time that he began to gain national attention for his leadership and his powerful speeches. But before we go on, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that all-powerful bell icon so you can receive future videos. So on with the show. Martin Luther King's most powerful speeches. One of King's most famous speeches was his I Have a Dream speech, which he delivered on August 28, 1963, during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. In this speech, King spoke out about his dream of a world where all races would be treated as equals. He also spoke about the importance of nonviolence, which was a key principle of the civil rights movement. The speech is considered one of the most iconic speeches in American history, and is still remembered and celebrated today. So what was King's impact on the civil rights movement? King's leadership and speeches had a profound effect on the civil rights movement. He was able to inspire and mobilize large numbers of people to take action for equal rights. His message of nonviolence was so powerful that it helped change the way people thought about civil rights. Instead of advocating for violent action, King emphasized the importance of peaceful protest and civil disobedience. This helped to make the civil rights movement more palatable to the general public and helped to gain more support for his ultimate cause. King's leadership also had a significant impact on the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These two pieces of legislation were some of the most important civil rights laws passed in the United States. They helped to end segregation in public places and ensured that all American citizens had the right to vote regardless of their race. King's assassination. Sadly, in 1968, King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. His death was a huge loss for the civil rights movement, but his legacy lives on. Today, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is celebrated as a national holiday in the United States, and his speeches and writings continue to be studied and admired. His message of nonviolence, equality, and justice is still relevant today, and his leadership continues to inspire people around the world to fight for equality and justice for all. In conclusion, Martin Luther King was a leader whose message and actions have had a profound impact on the civil rights movement and the United States. His messages of nonviolence and equality continue to resonate with people today. His leadership and speeches continue to inspire and guide those who are fighting for civil rights and social justice. We must continue to remember his legacy and strive to make his dream of a just and equal society a reality. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Martin Luther King, for your leadership in our country.